Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, councillors. Welcome. Obviously, I'm standing for just on the forward side, the meeting will be recorded and subject to the recording being of suitable quality. We made available on the council's YouTube channel by link on their website. Yeah. Health and safety, emergency exits. We came in, or else to the sub. You need to evacuate. If you need to evacuate, we meet outside the area here. Can I ask Councillor Penzo please to read the information?
We pledge that we will faithfully and impartially use our skill, wisdom, and judgment throughout discussions and deliberations ahead of us today in order to make responsible and appropriate decisions for the benefit of the South Wairarapa district at large. We commit individually and as a council to the principles of integrity and respect, and to upholding the vision and values we have adopted in our long-term plan strategic document in order to energise, unify, and enrich our district.
Thank you. So, can I call for any apologies? Now, the Mayor is speaking to the Select Committee this morning on finance and expenditure. For those that don't know, he's got a investment interest in finance to do something about our rural banking, which I totally support him on. He's indicated he'd try and be here before 11, so we'll move on. Can I just say that in his absence, if you want to refer to us, I presume you prefer to be we may have those who will go from there. Councillor Flynn, would you like to move the acceptance of apologies, please? Do a seconder. Thank you, Jimmy. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Okay, it's carried. Any conflicts in there before we proceed? Any tributes?
I have one. I'd just like to acknowledge the passing of one of our fire from the Hauriki Marae and Mount River, Lola Keel, who passed away last week, suddenly. And both her and her husband Tui played quite a large role in getting the Hauriki Marae up and running. So I'd just like to pay my respects there as well.
Right, moving on to public participation, we have 3 people this morning, Eric Cameron, Prue Vincent, and Peter Bennett. Just to explain the rules of how we do this, is that we have 5 minutes each to present or speak to your submission, and councillors can ask questions within that 5-minute period, and my colleague will probably indicate either by a loud bang or a bell, or we're actually running 4 minutes down. So, Barry Cameron, I'd like you to come to Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a privilege to be part of today's young audience. I'm speaking following on from a submission I made to the Vexton Community Board, concerns about the traffic flows through our township of Featherstone. I know it may not compare to what I read about the town flow, traffic flow around Martinborough, but we'll see about that. I've looked at the spatial plan as it reflects Featherstone, and it does mention there that transport is one aspect of the spatial plan, but I have not seen any yet any suggestions for making Featherstone safer for pedestrians, and I believe it has to be made safer. Those of you who are familiar with Featherstone will know that there are heavy trucks coming through there just about at every minute, and many of them, in my view, do not conform with the speed limits. I am advocating a change of the speed limit at the end of Fitzherbert Street from 70k down to 50, because it is now a residential stretch, the top end of the township there. I believe that should be a residential speed zone, not 70. I'm also suggesting that there be a heavy traffic bypass in Featherston. If you're coming into Featherston from the north, you will turn off to a left on Boundary Road, hook up to State 53 and come out at the south end of the township. I have said in my submission, perhaps roundabouts would be safer. There has been suggestions in the past that a roundabout at the Boundary Road intersection is a required safety feature, because there are accidents there, there have been, and there will continue to be. However, to try a heavy traffic bypass, we could do it without the roundabouts and just see how it goes. I think there is a raging debate online at the moment with the people who are good people of Featherston. You know, I know you're from Featherston Wing, etc. That's the website. I've been online and made my suggestions. I did a few estimates of the time involved in running a bypass. A heavy vehicle will probably take 3 extra minutes to make use of a heavy traffic bypass. So to me, it is not an additional burden of work for the heavy traffic. But I think we need to do something about it now. So that's about it, councillors. I'm advocating a heavy traffic bypass and a common speed zone, perhaps for all the townships in Wairarapa. There have been suggestions about 40 kilometres, 50 kilometres there, etc. I think it should be uniform standard to the townships to say 40 kilometres an hour. I just want to remind us all that there are already heavy traffic bypasses in Martinborough, and there's already one, of course, in Masterton, and the other townships are talking about heavy traffic bypasses. So let's get on with it.
Thank you, Gary. Any questions from council?
Thank you, Gary. I'm on the committee that's going to be looking at speed across the town tomorrow, so we'll be able to report that to council for you. But my question on State 53 is you're suggesting then that all the heavy trucks go past Featherston School.
Yeah.
Given any consideration to the danger to kids in that regard?
No more than what there is at the moment. I know that there is a lot of, there are flashing lights. The school advises their children, their parents to drop the children off, not in Rebel Street at all. There are heavy trucks using it all the time now.
Have you spoken to the school about the suggestion?
Pardon?
Have you spoken to the school about the suggestion?
I have understood from a previous principal that they advocate the children not to be dropped off in Rebel Street. Yeah. Yes, Ross.
Perry, thank you for your submission. I totally agree with your concerns about road safety, pedestrian safety in Featherston. The road is it is a hazard. NZTA though have announced that they will be very soon starting work on raised pedestrian crossings by the supermarket on State Highway 2 and outside the school on State Highway 53. So that will go some way towards efficiency. I can't comment on your bypass proposal because there are many factors at play there, and it may be a matter of just shifting the problem to totally support you and urge council to move forward in making that road and the town safer.
Thank you. Well, I think a traffic count would resolve a lot of the debate to actually put in hard terms what the traffic count is. I've had a heavy traffic license since I was 16. I know if a logging truck slams on its brakes, the logs will come to the cab and kill the driver. So, there are practicalities about heavy traffic that, a lot of people are not aware of.
One, I just had a comment from the debate. He is very happy to take a suggestion to the Regional Transport Committee.
Yeah.
And we'll consult from there. So thank you very much, Gary. Freeman.
councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Prue Vincent. I've been a ratepayer in Greytown since 1977. And the bill I have today reflects me as a ratepayer. As elected representatives of the community at large, you have a lot of responsibility to manage those spheres which fall under the council in ways that best serve the interests of the community of Greytown. I'm not talking about the Greater South Wairarapa district at the moment. And there will of course be tensions in doing so. Communities are diverse and they have competing interests. A particular tension currently is how much Greytown should be developed as a tourist destination and how much it should develop in ways that meet the needs of its residents, many of whom have chosen to stay here or move here because of the rural village atmosphere. They did not choose to come because it is a tourist town. And many would not wish progress to lead to the town becoming like Havelock North and other tourist hotspots such as Queenstown. Already the main street of the town seems overtaken by tourists at the weekends, to the extent that some locals leave going to town to weekdays. As guardians of community assets during your tenure in office, you will have to weigh up the impact of decisions in the short term and in the long term. Some decisions cannot be undone with the wisdom of hindsight. And this is the background to my submission. I am very concerned that the council may be considering selling what I consider to be some of the crown jewels, in particular land which is central in the town, owned by the community and managed by the council. A local property developer has made it very clear publicly that he would like to develop commercial interests on that land. I do not think that this prime land belonging to the community should be sold. It should be retained as a community asset for the future, whatever shape that might take in the future. In my opinion, the development of the town must be balanced, and the central location of this land has the potential to provide for community interests alongside commercial ones. It is already forecast that the population of Greytown is expected to grow by at least 20%. We need to be sure that there is room to meet increasing community needs. And I forgot to say that obviously I'm speaking in relation to section F of the agenda, where much of the information is withheld. So I hope that I've actually found the right place to
Questions, can we have a copy?
You're welcome. I have a spare one here.
Councillor West.
Kia ora, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Have you spoken with the businesses and gotten a feeling from the businesses within Greytown as to what their thoughts are around?
No, I haven't.
Thank you very much, Prue. Just moving on a little bit from Councillor West's question. Obviously, you've been a ratepayer in the Greytown Board for a period of time, which is nice. How many folk have you spoken to around town, just neighbours, residents, friends, family, and what's their feeling?
No, I haven't done a survey of town. I just know by talking to people I know
That's what I mean.
that there are these tensions in town. I don't think, I mean, if you'd like me to do a survey, I'm perfectly qualified to do one, but
Can I tell you that I mean, what's your feeling from there?
But you know, I'm aware that these kind of tensions are common in other places in New Zealand too, which is competing commercial interests, competing tourism, and then the competing needs of the community who do not necessarily want their town to be overtaken.
Thank you.
Thank you, but this, we are, you're probably aware, we are considering the recommendation from assets. There's some additional requirements.
So, but obviously I don't know any detail, but this is all public with Helen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, big about. Welcome. Thank you.
You don't
You don't understand. You can
understand.
You're very welcome.
Every day, sir. Good morning, I'm the chairperson of the Great Yarra Men's. But to start, we applaud Adam Blackwell and Great Yarra Prosperity Limited for their proposed development adjacent to their bicycle business on Main Street. But we don't agree with having him to purchase all the land that the men's shed occupied. We have developed our complex from a vermin-infested and overgrown site back approximately 6 years ago with help from the council. And it was only 3 years ago when the council gave us an extension to our agreement for the right to occupy until 2033. So as to give our shed members confidence to raise enough money to construct a new building as the old building did not meet our needs. As Adam Blackwell and Great Yarra Prosperity Limited have acquired other adjacent properties surrounding the council-owned land, we don't see why he needs all the land to construct his complex. Relocating the men's shed to a possible remote site at a cost of approximately 200,000 or more will destroy our social identity. The success of the shed is because we're in the centre of town, where the community can call in on their way to the shops with all the projects they want built or any repairs they want. All three low-rate men's sheds were located by design to be in the middle of town, to integrate them with the local community. If we were to be located to the edge of town, we feel we would be out of sight, out of mind. Bear in mind that the Carnegie men's shed have struggled because they were situated out of town, and I think now they're in recess. The Great Yarra Men's Shed offers its members, men and women, visible integration, interaction, and a sense of purpose within our community. It also provides services to all our local community, such as the furniture built for the public library, and we're a potential civil defence base with our radio system. And the buildings are also used by different other groups for meetings. The men's shed is not just a group of old men mucking around with a few tools. When the time comes for you to make a decision on the land sale, we urge you to remember that Adam already has enough land. The men's shed already have ideas for landscape and develop the land with planting and beautification to make it more accessible and usable for all the community. The Great Yarra Men's Shed needs to remain where it is to survive and to continue and to provide its current community benefits. The statement from the developer that they need all the land or they will move the idea to Christchurch or Cambridge needs to be ignored, because the extra land that was acquired since the proposal was first theirs is more than enough to build their development. This is a classic conflict between Main Street retailers and local community users. And it doesn't need to be, as Great Yarra Men's Shed don't necessarily need all the land we occupy. We're spread out, but we could crunch up a bit without moving the permanent buildings, and we can work beside the development if the developers agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Have you, I know you work with a large number of community groups and you've done a large number of projects over the years. Have you quantified how many people might come to the men's shed either popping in to get the nose shut?
We haven't made a list of the amount of people that call in, because it just varies. I mean, half the time it depends on the weather, but a lot of people are just wandering through to the shops, they'll just stop in, especially if they've got a door open, having a cup of tea, just for a chat. Our success just depends on people that come in bringing things for us to repair and make, and all the community groups will help the schools, the church, the college, kindergartens, the library, community board helping, and just pops in, can you give us a hand and put the flags up? Off we go, and just a very casual thing. Okay.
Kia ora, thank you very much. Very enlightening. I applaud you for allowing women into your wind shed. I know that there are some wind sheds around the country that don't allow women, and I think that's a bit of a shame, really. With regards to the location of the wind shed, I note that Masterton wind shed is nowhere near town. It's quite far by Lake Henley. But I do get that it's great to have it central, like if people want to go shopping and then want to get the night charts, the advantages of many. But yes, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention.
Thing is with the Henley men's shed, as you said in your drive past, it's literally huge, and it's run as a business, sort of by a project manager, and his job is to go out and find work, and then give the work to whatever members he thinks. It's run like a business. Ours is
Yeah, good to know.
Carlton men's shed, I think ours is recess because they would solve it.
Thanks very much, Peter. As I said, the comments from both Peter and Phil were considered in terms of feedback for the discussions like approval first.
Peter, just I want to say, one of the, you've got a right to occupy till 2033. If you were to do all the plantings and all the development and so on and so forth that you're talking about, that then I'm just trying to think through, would then make it almost permanent, which would then remove options for the community in 2033 to make a decision about that land should the requirements of the town.
No, not really. I mean, what we're talking about is maybe a few wooden planter boxes with seats attached, which can quite easily be removed if you wanted to. Maybe in the future, council wanted to build another, maybe community centre or something on the land.
Would there be benefit?
It's not sure rules.
I'm trying to see my decision for later.
Thank you very much. Can I move on to A6? Anybody here at the community boards or their staff? Any other extraordinary business? Okay. The mayor will discuss under this report later on when he arrives about the original mayoral forum discussion that we had at the school. Moving to.
Sorry, are we accepting the minutes?
No. Okay, so we're going on to A8, minutes with confirmation. There's 3 minutes from the 10th of February. I don't pretty much need to count. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Do I have a mover for the minutes of the council meeting from 10:03? So I'm sure that your record. Yes, okay. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Any comment on that? from the councillors? Yeah. So, man, yours about public participation has been actually raised it again under the.
Well, we've got that A5, which is actions for public participation, and we're going to do that later, we just need to make that clear for members of the public.
Just restate
Yeah.
that, just the-
Just to cover that point off, so if any councillors have any comment about the ETA, we'll cover it off now on the traffic plan which periods addressed. And as I said, the comments from approval people will be considered as part of the feedback when we discuss the suite.
So as I said, it's a very good, there was a combined council organisation looking at speed limits across the district. For our council. But we are supporting it. So we are looking at.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair, NTA did do a really well communicated opportunity for people to be able to raise any concerns. It would be nice if we could ask NTA to do it again, to get any other commentary, since we would have time to think about it.
I think it's a two-stage process, so I mean, they're all, there's the informal, when they gather the concerns, and then when they pose, they'll get more opportunity for people to get information.
Just a comment regarding traffic counts, that we've had it done in Greytown on a regular basis, and it's really not a difficult thing to request. At one point, I think we haven't done it in 6 months because of the same issues with the heavy trucks. So they can with the traffic counts tell the difference between a heavy truck and normal cars. So that's something I imagine NZTA would have a pretty regular basis of this.
Comments on it? So we move on to B1, it's the council minutes and community board minutes. We're considering B1 the minutes all the way through there. Want to move receipt orders at this stage? Or just the ones that we're. Yeah. So I move receipt that, or receipt report, thank you, seconded by Councillor. All those in favour? Thanks, carried. And table the library. Have you all seen the library service? Thank you very much for coming. We will be discussing this further. Thank you. Right. All right, so we will move to items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mr. Chair, I have a query with regards to a proceeding with the Essence and Services Committee. It said that I was actually, does that mean that I was actually contributing to the meeting? Okay, it's like the people that were there and contributed, but not part of the committee. How does that fit in?
I'm just in attendance as well.
In terms of-
What you mean.
But you contributed to the discussion?
No, you don't. Not to the things that are really being voted on.
She said something, so she provides the information to us.
But you were out of the
Were the comments recorded, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
They were recorded. They weren't. No. Yeah.
It's like I've been on, I'm not part of the planning and regulatory, but I've been here and attended, spoken about climate change. From the council's representative on climate change.
Yes, but.
I thought it was, but my comments are not.
Just want to clarify, the users in my name here in attendance, and it's like, I'm assuming that if you're in attendance, you're actually contributing, and I don't. So is that the way that's all work? Can I have clarification?
So the members of the committee, those that are listed as present, what I have found is some councillors like there, because they're attending, and even if they're not contributing to the discussion, they're still keeping up to date with the topics, they like the name recorded to that. I don't have to put you there, it's not a requirement, standing.
Well, it gives the impression that I actually contributed to that particular meeting, and I didn't, I was just sitting there listening.
We can discuss this later and decide what we're dealing with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because it gives that false impression that I actually contributed to that matter. I was, you were. I wasn't, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Are there any other issues people like to raise those various points right through?
I'd just like to raise something on the Finance Audit and Risk Committee that we have requested a risk register be elevated to its prominence and importance. So I believe that's happening now. Trade
Yes, that is. Yes, yeah,
We're going to proceed with that then. I need to move it. So, all those in favour say aye.
Party flags.
Right, moving on to the planning and regulatory committee. So we have a move to receive the report. Councillor Fox is councillor. All those in favour, say aye. Against, carried. Councillor Becky, you want to comment on?
Well, this meeting just went to the dogs.
Tweets the dog.
It's approving the dog management fees and charges. We're putting forward recommendations from the committee that these be accepted, and also ratification of the submission made by joint council subcommittee on climate change in response to public consultation document by the Climate Change Commission. And it was the committee approved the submission. Now we're just asking for council to presumably ratify that decision. Basically, the submission to the commission is in support of a climate change and carbon management policy which reflects the character of our region. And there's some very important notes in there about the nature of the farming industry and a desire to continue economic growth of our region while managing our carbon footprint. It's a very good submission. Diligent work across three councils.
Make comment on that. So this submission that we put in the joint council. Made a few people that very proactive in what we're doing in the climate change area in the Wairarapa, and as so different to what that submission that we put through. That's, yeah, the wire. And I think we've got to thank Melanie and Natasha and us for watching us together. We in the wire, we have a subcommittee that we talk every month. The other right well.
Thank you. Can I have a movement for item 1, which is the adoption of the proposed dog toll fees for 21-22, and authorise council officers to give public notice of these fees? Councillor Fox, second. Councillor Hay. All those in favour? Against? Carried.
Can I, through you, can I just say thank you to Rick for the extremely good explanations he gave, and he followed up further with a breakdown of dogs that have been microchipped and some other questions that we had at the time. So thank you to Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's glowing. And can I have a move of the recommendation recommendation to approve the submission of the Haywood Randy, the Climate Change Commission. Yes, Gibbs, and second, yes. Lorenzo, all those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Well, instead of that, he's doing a good job.
He's doing a very good job.
Stand on the regular. My apologies for that. Call it another train. Oh, so welcome to the mayor. Right, Mary Stanley, we have considered the report once again. This is the appointment of the new members. So to kind of move and see, move for the Just carry on. Yeah. So I move to receive the report from the Mary Standing Committee. Okay, so Maynard. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. We have the movement that the appointment of Giles Baker and Gillies Baker, sorry, and Michelle as members of the Mary Standing Committee representing Kapuai Marae. Do I have a move for that? Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor Fox. So this is actually quite important. So all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I think it's quite, I think it's really good that we now have a full test on the Mary Standing.
Absolutely.
And I think it's quite an important thing. To my mind, we've actually done some really good work with that.
Chair, actually very capable people. Actually,
I think, you know, hats off to these people for their hand up, stand up. We have had trouble in the past getting representatives on the horizon, but as you say, two very good people to represent my whole life. Right. Yeah.
Okay, action. This is D1. We have a movement to that report. And so, thank you. All those in favour, say aye. Against, carried. Now, councillors, any questions for officers who are present? Who's kicking this off? Thank you.
Just to point 636, that will come at the last combined library committee meeting. So ago, did see the commissioner. So it's being discussed. And it's considered.
Through you, Mr. Chair. There was a policy that actually governed that, but that policy had not been included in the next update, which is why I raised it months ago.
And I think that same policy also included donation of books,
Yeah.
which is a really good idea. So.
I'm didn't fall forward to put that to action. Could the mentions that there's a report being done, an analysis of glass crushing. Could we have access to that analysis? Yeah, because I don't think it's actually on this. Yeah, we see it.
We could pull something together. We do need to be mindful of comments in there around the contract that we have around it. Something.
I mean, it's an important step in our climate change and our waste minimalisation. I understand it's like 31 tonnes.
On general, it's 45 tonne a week leaving the wire wrapper.
Yeah.
It's down to 30 at the moment for the wire wrapper. That's a liquid, and that is recycled and turned into jars. No cost to us.
Yeah, but it goes to all.
Yeah, we don't have to start with
There's a footprint there that I would love to look at, rather than just the past on.
As Ewan said, the trouble is the contract's so tight.
Yeah.
We could be in trouble there.
Could I ask, Ross, when's the contract up for reduce?
16 years, yeah.
So it'd be nice to have a chat with them rather than sit going a contract, stopping us from doing the last.
I've had a chat with them.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been present.
Okay, that's we can.
I like it.
I just don't want to see that action unless we are comfortable that it has action.
Well, so statements to me, this says the council offers consider feasibility of a plant, and there's a comment saying we consider it feasible. So there's no request for an analysis or entry report. So it's just something we consider feasible. In other words, no analysis, and the comment is we don't think it's feasible.
In the short,
Well, simply because the contract is so the question is it feasible? Not asking for an analysis. It's a good idea there. I feel that's faster. So it depends how much you want us to do. But in terms of the action, is it feasible? I think the commentary is I should say actually. It's not feasible.
perhaps then we may have another action to look at the contract to find out where there might be leeway for us to make efficiencies within the South Fire Rapper that are able to be implemented instead of having to wait 6 years for such.
Yes.
3-page contract.
So, yeah.
So, can I just ask a question about it? The resolution was to is this feasible or not? Start with this is feasible. If you are happy with that price, then this needs to go back to assets and services or where it originated, so that we can actually discuss what this would like us to actually do clear on this. Because the comment is feasible, we've seen that.
Yeah,
Could we get this, the general, that's it, so that, yeah, raising experience. Including.
Are we happy with that?
Oh, well, yes.
Councillor Lee?
It might not be feasible for the council to look at that, but surely public opinion and public pressure could encourage Earthcare to consider other alternatives.
That's it. Possibly.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, just leave it.
Any other questions for us? Right, we're going to take a break. Shouldn't spoil up the meeting. We'll adjourn until 11. Okay, thank you. Arts display or cultural display. All right, well, good guys. Yeah. Reconvene. Thank you very much, Eric, for taking that up. I just need to know, I was at the Parliamentary Finance and Expenditure Subcommittee doing a presentation on hands. And relatively well. It was with Great Dyslexia New Zealand, and a couple of other organisations, Federated Farmers and myself.
Great, so one's a really very effective.
Yes, great.
Excellent, great.
And I'd just like to know that our committee was piece of helpful parliamentary on just we do run a risk, Chris. Anyway, moving on, we're going to go back to 87 for extraordinary business. Yeah. Yes, yeah. On extraordinary business, you should have in front of you a Wellington Region water. Now, I'll just give you a bit of background on this one. It was discussed in the Mural Forum. I said, what the hell are you putting in front of me? So I'm sure we've discussed this. It's really just to start a conversation about what if water reform is inevitable. What is the Wellington Region's combined stance to talk to government to get the best deal for Wellington councils? So this is not, yes, we all agree. It's more if it's inevitable, what we will. And we are already, Andy Foster's come back with his changes. Wayne Guffey's started making comments, Darren Holter's come back with his changes as well. So really, I don't think there's a lot of discussion here for us, but I will send out an email to gather everyone's thoughts that we can then go to the Mural Forum and say, here is the South Wairanga's thoughts, rather than me saying it. I'd much rather have all the report being presented. So that will happen over the next couple of weeks. If you're okay with that. And then I can combine that, I'll then send it back out to you, say, here's our submission on this, and then we'll pop that into the mix with the other years. The important one there, though, as well, is number 6, the future of local government. Harry, do you want to mention, I think we have agreed to actually get a study done or a review done.
So the Mural Forum has agreed to commission some work to actually explore the opportunities that and changes that the Three Waters Reform will mean, but then what's the future of local government and central government? So we will commission a piece of work specifically. Hopefully that should intercede with the Department of Internal Affairs and release the cabinet decisions on scope of how that's going to be involved. So there's a machine of central government as well doing this. I think it's back to black box right now.
Yeah, but it's important for us to have our figures in this time so that we're able to direct the way we think it should happen rather than being told.
Exactly, that's all.
So is it your crystal balling that the Three Waters Reform will occur before they come out with an answer of the future of local government?
Yes, it will, because also the future of the government will take into account any likely changes under our.
So sort of particularly for Christmas without knowing what's.
Yes, but we're positioning ourselves for this case. So because we're in the system, what it looks like. I think they commission that piece will actually give us ideas if this happens or this happens. What do we do?
I guess the government will see how the Three Waters Reform goes, and then I think Ron was one.
I do think this is not a still course for saying we don't need local government as a statutory instrument. Does anyone see that? I also see it as what's the best mix of central and local government in New Zealand. That's the opportunity. That's the opportunity.
Then if they can't go, what does it leave?
Actually, I think you'll be surprised by it. Because what we are is we are the implementer of government policy. They realise it, and they can't do it without us. So we really need to be representative. We need to be efficient. We also need to have public collaboration in what's going on. So yes, you can take water and build it out, but there's still a lot of those 4 well beds that we are asked to do.
I mean, all the work, regulatory bylaws, your animal control, your regulatory activities, the way you regulate the local community as opposed to educate the placemaking functions around amenities, our services, and so forth. So local roads, I'm saying take local roads out of the equation.
Personal motion,
So all that economic changes.
But it doesn't mean, doesn't make small councils like this one viable.
Let's wait and see what happens.
Make school.
Yeah, this is well something senior housing. And that makes me think, you know, like what each of the councils have, I mean, policy government's talking about, but would they be looking at taking over any of that? Because that's almost like they straight on us.
But they might change the rule book, but actually makes us viable for us to be operating in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something we take to the table.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
actually showing this actually viable. So,
Yeah.
it's absolutely true.
The one thing that I'm confused over is that, where are they going to get their money from? Are they going to bill people directly? And if they do, then our rates should effectively come down.
The water component of our rates would be removed, it would then go to a different entity, we think, but we don't know yet, and we won't know till August.
Yeah.
But we can start working on those.
We can, yes, but we need to consult with the public, we need to
Yeah.
get what the shape is, and then
Yeah.
the opportunity to consult with the public on this one. So we've got a bit of work to go here.
Yeah, the problem on the previous point, you're going to have our ratepayers paying some form for the delivery of services. And if local government is not part of that conversation anymore, it's virtually like what Jefferson described as taxation without representation.
Yeah, all of that oversight. That's true. Yeah. And we are concerned with that, and then that is part of the structure we're discussing, is what part of the government plays in the administration of that one, but I'm making this decision.
Just remember, the decision about how the service will be funded. So it's actually something. So in Scotland, they actually don't have a rating mechanism at all. So Scotland don't have a rating mechanism. It's done as a social equity charge for service.
The assets, well, this question sort of don't. And what about the conceded activity?
What about, because you know, when they did that presentation to us and they actually showed like how high we were up on the amount of work that we had done compared to other councils, is that then going to actually impact us detrimentally to what they're doing?
Don't know.
It's actually a proportion of our debt related to water.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of debt for other activity. That's the one showing a spike at that end of the spectrum.
And they're using
Which is different.
But it's a good thing, it's always been on our radar.
But doesn't mean we speak on for.
that we could actually do 2 hours, and every time we would go, we don't know. It's true.
Yeah.
So.
Good combo.
So the next step is government's taking all this feedback and roadshows, so they went to 13 different locations, they heard from local government, heard from one of them, they're taking all that information together and then once the cabinet is in, fairness to the government in this context, they released all the cabinet papers with a few redactions, but they've been released in the public already, so you're not actually seeing things behind closed doors in that sense. And then their intent is then to basically write the script around what the consultation, the information that will be provided to the community. So that whole information. And we're not sourced as council, someone else who says yes, the kind of costs that at the presentation folks here, the gentleman from DIA said, but don't spend a whole lot of money here trying to redesign all the information, and economic information that Lex is providing, etc. Because actually you haven't got time to actually announce it.
And that was,
Well, they said a nice thing,
yes, I was also having a presentation from PwC with predictive rate increases. They had still thrown that out, like period saying we're not going to get a 95% rural connections, and they are redoing that. So they are actually listening, Yeah, so PwC going away, redo those based on what's feasible. The cost of the ratepayer is totally different, 95%. Our houses. It's not going to happen. And the only reason it happened in Scotland was because of billions of euros of funding during the funding period.
So, with regards to the Sapphire app, how many rural properties might be? 35%.
So the bit because that's actually also red herring. It's absolutely red herring, so.
Well, it's not red herring.
No, sorry, that's the works analysis. We asked that question specifically in the presentation by the economic regulator about whether that was material in terms of the cost of information they were providing for household charges, and then the percentage of rural connections versus own connections actually wasn't material in the numbers. So it was actually asked the economic regulator in that presentation, that question. Okay, so it'd be in terms of whether this is good for the rate. So other people back me up here, but this discussion was very clear about that's not material in terms of the cost of information.
And then the point to those are not connected, will have to get water supply, water to and that's another
Huge,
very grey area.
The bigger risk is in the water services bill is those people who are providing water services what that. That's actually driving more articulation decisions.
Well, I was just about to say that, that's why, so they did some numbers around how many people they thought were connected between urban supplies and rural on-site supplies or individual dwellings. And the numbers have escalated threefold from what they thought they were. But it doesn't have an impact on we don't connect rates for those people because they're on for water infrastructure. They don't, so it doesn't actually impact on the numbers. But it does impact on the decisions around health for the community. And so the water services bill is going to really cover those elements and what people need to be doing on these small, and you call them rural agricultural supplies. And you can look at all this in the water services bill. So they will be covered under that statute, which will be when it comes to be. And they'll be needing to follow some rules for what they have to do. It won't be anything to do with how you shut down into the new world. We might be looking at it in terms of the work that we do with the communities around, management of communicable disease, for example. That might be a way of meeting a different outcome for a community, and that's going to be through the water side of it. So you pop that one to the probably.
I think it's taking the down on that instead of private provider fails becomes a local critical services bill becomes a local authority responsibility to resolve it. And also at the presentation, it also made it very clear that's actually benefit to local government if we go all the becomes responsible for the central entity, not the local government.
And that would be right. Oh, good. Yeah, good. And sometimes I don't get anyone at all about the Garrett Republic. Time. Yeah. This is a good sign. But there are four issues, not even issues as well. One is cobblestones that Alan Percy, who's our representative, has resigned. This seems to be a bit of a perennial issue. I do understand that initially the cobblestones wanted to have a councillor sitting on the board, and there is capability to do that. I was trying to avoid that in as much as they removed one councillor from the discussion or voting with regards to issues coming up with cobblestone. But given that it's a triennial problem, I'm pushing, leaning towards appointing a councillor. Does anyone have any particular issues with that?
Can I just, I'm just got a couple of questions. So Alan Percy, how many reports has he written in time since he's been appointed?
No.
None.
No.
So,
and that was a disappointment, that was a requirement for his appointment. So, yeah.
So I put forward a list of people I thought would be useful in that position at the beginning of the training.
That's what I'm saying.
And I know that Cobblestones from the outset expressed just now that the appointment.
I was still aware of that, so they haven't come back to me.
But I'd be interested in, well,
I would be surprised at that because he was an existing ward member. Yes, he was. And he just moved rotally across to South Warwick. So I doubt that the ward would have complained about it.
well,
Yes, so I think that's probably what discuss it anyway. But anyway, I quite, so does anyone have a problem with the council now sitting for the rest of the training?
Who's the councillor?
They don't know yet.
As long as they obey their meeting.
So family decision. All right, well, do we want to have a resolution that, if you're happy with me to appoint someone? You okay with that?
Can we just,
What would be the right?
devil's advocate? Alice, isn't it, if no councillor wants to do that, can we look at the list that, Lee has actually prepared as.
I think we go, if we're not happy, then I do the whole round and then I've got suitable candidates, because time has moved on to it, and we'll probably bring some of those things back in the agenda.
also, I think it's worth noting that the board has changed.
Yes, that's
right.
So, perhaps I can propose a resolution.
That's a reason why we're doing Holmstones and none of the other organisations around
Yes, there is, because this is specific term of the trustee that is out and it seems to be.
Like this.
So we have been asked, if no other organisations have actually asked us to be, how would you cover the trustee?
So I suppose it's just think it's a little bit self-serving of Holmstones to do that because it means they have an advocate around the table and that's not
We
necessarily.
don't have to appoint, and I think you mentioned that right at the beginning, that's actually why I'm on the council, just to get feedback, but I think it's not, I think it's good for us to have a seat at the table listening after issues that have arisen in other trusts. So that really important.
Alistair, if I can just answer that question, D, that makes up membership of the board trust, goes back to 1959, and it's historically worked, but the board does recognise the need to be reviewed. It's something that is that the board does list of priorities, but so they take people from throughout the community. So that is the historical context.
I'm happy to have no one there. If you want, if the councillors want.
My preference would be to have us appoint someone to that outside of council to give us that view, as opposed to having a councillor as an advocate around the table.
I was trying to avoid this constant.
I understand that, but I think the council outweighs the.
Councillors, everyone agree, disagree?
I agree with that, Alistair. Look, if other organisations see that we've got council appointed people sitting on their board, then they might start thinking hands normally.
There's always been someone on the board
Yeah.
recently
Yeah.
that's been a councillor. So.
And that's why we have destination. But we put some.
DW is slightly different.
Can I make a suggestion that in the absence of anybody wanting to step up to the job, that I review this, that I initially sent to you?
I think we would go out to all councillors for suggestions as opposed to just one. And then, because we all represent the district. If you're happy for me, a resolution, I'll go out and ask them, then I will appoint it.
And it could be from the outside of council.
It would actually be tidier to have someone outside the town.
Yeah, I just don't want us to drag out for another 8 weeks.
The main thing is that they, someone's appointed to a trust, they do street duties to the trust. That can lead into a conflict where they may make it have certain interest of trust and management interest. And so essentially, if you appoint a councillor, they could be faced with that situation. If you don't have a councillor, they might be faced with that situation.
I think it would be
Or it's a theory.
unfair on the council.
It has to be clear that the judicial duty is actually to trust. So we are not trying, we are not trying.
To move this along, I'm going to have resolution that the mayor canvasses councillors, simple people, and is delegated the authority to appoint someone to be free at the next council. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against, motion is carried. Urban, I just like, there's a attachment at the back there, just to give you an idea of where we're going with this. It's still very slow, but this is a very changing landscape as regards to government legislation, government assistance to free up land. So I'm just give you an idea that that's bubbling in the background, but it has no substance.
My only concern about Urban is that, yes, we may have cheap housing available, but is it going to go to people that need it?
Let's keep playing with that, that's the intention.
I have been encouraging further work along these lines.
Yeah.
This is it's resurrecting a tried concept from the past, and it solves a lot of problems that would make it work. The idea of the CCO having with about a joint venture with another partner, having land which can be leased to people for first homes. This concept of a 250 property village, green belt, amenities, I mean, it's groundbreaking.
Especially with what's emerging, and this is where we tiptoe down, but the amount of money the government is throwing at solutions. And it is in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they go. We will just leave that with me. I just thought I'd give you constant updates. Bill Task Force for Jobs, just to give you a bit of an overview and ask to fill in on this one. And again, I'm going to thank Alistair for what he does in this area. Bill Task, Alan Maxwell, who was a replacement for Alan. She has since had to, personal reasons, bow out. So we're in a bit of a state of flux there, but we are working with Whānau Trust to continue to deliver the contract for us. And I still think it's important for us to have them as our deliverer of the task force jobs. Contract, we have just drawn down and given another $40 million from, based on the success of the program in the South Wairarapa.
Right.
And we were also then looking at, we've got a 5 FTE Steve, who's also a community officer.
Community development officer.
Community development officer. She will be going full-time with council in June. So then the decision has to be made whether we within council, we pass on those, the liaison with employers and NTFJ to the Whānau Trust and another way. So but the program is still working very well.
So Alex, with the opening of the trains, the more opportunity, with the opening up the trains, yes, with bubble, is there more opportunities in the hospitalities?
I'm going to probably, I don't know, but I would suggest that more international tourism starts kicking off, the less domestic tourism we may see. We've been a big beneficiary of the lack of exactly and the desire to so no, I don't think that's necessarily what we might ask.
So further to that, it was noted on the news that Australia is now reaching out to New Zealand for employees. Yeah. So we might see trends, people going back over to Australia.
Yeah. We'll just go second and see on that one, but certainly we have increased our tourism numbers since COVID lockdown. So I don't think it's, as that evolves, I think we might see a reduction.
Well, obviously, it could be an opportunity.
I'll wait and see. And so there is an opportunity. We're still trying to find a jobs for nature organisation to start training. We'll keep you posted on that one. There is an example up in the Bay of Plenty that we want to copy that actually got $7 million worth of government funding. which then changes the game plan totally.
Are you looking for a partner to do some of that work in the training? So
We want to, we need more investigation into the current situation, that. So hold that thought.
I will,
And
because
possibly
we-
have a chat.
So we have to, so Alan's going to, 4 months, might go up to a couple of this, something, bring it down to here.
But it is, yeah, I think they employ hundreds of people and plant millions of trees, so if you can get it, it's okay.
We're very keen to, replicate plant trees, we get training for people to do it.
And that's
So a couple of volunteers with. And ongoing occupation.
And so the final one on number 4 is banking meetings that we asked to push it. And I have full support from the mayors, the other 33 mayors will push this. And if you're happy with me to continue doing that on behalf of the South Wairau Show.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you get any feedback from the dealing?
No. No, and but since we don't have any here, I can actually, I met with Treasury, 3 people, and they have actually indicated they have already started a review on the impacts on water communities, separate from the government. So it's very positive. But basically, in a way, by having that review, Treasury. Oh, so but actually, we do need someone, I move to receive the report from the seconded.
Go through your list of things, because it's going to be better. You did mention of them, what is that? Because obviously, that's discussions.
Also the rating.
That was actually, no, that was the Featherston mentioned, social drinks. Social drinks.
Certainly is the mention that I was referring to that don't have.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You joking?
They're exclusive. They're exclusive to their own little.
It's so smart.
They, yeah, and they don't report like they're actually, used to.
Well, they really are an issue.
So was the Wellington Club, it's also court.
So it's Freemasons. Anyway, okay, so there's, seconded to receive the report by Brenda, all those in favour, please say aye. All those against, motion carries. Right, and now we move on to public excluded business. Seconded by Judy, all those in favour, please say aye. All those against, motion is carried. And we are in public excluded. So,
Yeah.